Hey nerds, since I went and watched episodes 3 and 4 of Bojack Horseman season 3 right after I did that video, I decided to do another, even if I don't post it in the same day. Something I left out of the last review was, in terms of a flashback, what happened with the Bojack Horseman show. And we can pretty much infer what happened, even though they are careful not to show anything from the actual show itself. Yeah. However, it being something that was generally not mentioned before, it means that it was like, it probably got canceled so early, it became super obscure, at the very least. And Bojack's spider friend basically sent him on errand in episode 3, trying to find that letter. That was a love letter when she and that brilliant writer worked together. I think in terms of a road trip episode, even though, you know, it's still in California, of course, because Bojack's riding around with Diane, it's like all the old band's back together because, and this is in reference to what Diane actually says about them being so similar, bring out the worst in each other. It also brings out some of the best comedy in the show because Diane's so sarcastic and so self-loathing, and because Bojack's so self-loathing but also finds a kindred spirit in Diane. They really riff off of each other pretty well. Actually, she has some of the best quotes this episode, and she ends the episode. She is the first end of this episode. I just want to go home, and I think this is a really sad episode because you see another character from horsing around and where they ended up, and they get arrested. That's bad enough. But they're also Stripper Disneyland. The proprietor of Stripper Disneyland, which probably means Stripper Disneyland is getting shut down. But Stripper Disneyland should probably get shut down because so many people die in Stripper Disneyland. It's really terrible at Stripper Disneyland. And having a murder mystery turn out to be not what you think it is, I think we're actually playing with our expectations a little bit. And I keep saying that Bojack Horseman is a show that's plot is relevant. It's still a comedy, and so even though playing it for laughs is a thing, I do think it's eerily similar to not necessarily how strip clubs work, but how we try to rebrand things and pretend that thing's not the thing it really is. I mean, it's there's sexualization in a lot of our media, and there's kind of a flattening of it to make it seem like it's digestible and will go over the heads of children. We have, you know, sexual humor, and, you know, kids films and stuff like that is meant to be subtle. Stuff like that. But I guess taking it to a huge extreme, really. Moving on from there, Bojack's still messing up his PR campaign, but Diane is salvaging it. Her being totally into Twitter in episode 3 is actually really, really funny because she's against Twitter, obviously, because, you know, she's a self-righteous hipster. A successful self-righteous hipster at that, which I can really, really appreciate. But, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. So, hashtag get the job done, right? But, I guess it turns out that she's kind of wrecking her relationship without Bojack's help, technically, is something of a revelation to her. And I hope that they can, her and Mr. Peanut Butter can get past this. Also, Miss Carolyn coming to save the day because of Mr. Peanut Butter fuck up. It's kind of reminiscent of like season 1 where she was helping with Todd's and Bojack's fuck ups. Because Mr. Peanut Butter fuck ups are like so different. It's like, no, please, I need to save my marriage. No one else on this show has priorities like Mr. Peanut Butter. And Mr. Peanut Butter actually stole the episode towards the end when he's just like, nope, we're not talking about this in this emotional speech that before this episode, I didn't even know what stuff they learned from a therapist, and they were trying to like do what the therapist said and not necessarily be 100% honest with each other, at least in the way of how they would generally interact with each other. And he's found it patronizing. He's like, no, you know, especially after he went through so much trouble just to make sure when she got home everything will be okay. For her not to come home, he's like, damn, you didn't even call me, please. And I keep seeing Diane and Mr. Peanut Butter's relationship and seeing it as I guess it's functioning technically still, and it is on the rocks, but it is a realistic relationship, and I love it, and I really hope they don't break up. Even though we saw in the flashbacks that this isn't his first marriage, which is why he's looking at it the way he does, and why he goes that serious face. It's the only thing he really goes serious face on. Love and respect. And I really respect Mr. Peanut Butter for that. Moving on to the next episode. Or actually, no, before I do that, I guess I want to acknowledge what was it? Mr. Fluffy Whiskers? I think that's what the director's name was. What he said about happiness. Yeah, like you have to give everything up to truly be happy. And it really resonated with Diane. That's how she kind of ended the episode in that funk, being like, I just want to go home. She didn't really want to face the truth of what this guy was saying. Even though she was trying to tell him to be emotionally responsible for the people he left behind, like the spider lady that used to be his girlfriend is like, I need to be responsible for my own happiness. It can't be dependent on others, but I'm still trying to help people, i.e. his halfway house. Now moving on to the next episode. Now that I'm a little more somber because of how fucked up this is, but it's Bojack Horseman for you. Bojack going to a different culture that he doesn't know the language, right? And really fucking up because of not appropriating himself to cultural norms. Although technically still offending people to a level in which Bojack generally offends people. So in hindsight, compared to the shit that he's done before, it's not really the worst. Even the worst public shit, honestly. But you know, they play it up. And, you know, he's everywhere, but ignoring his negative fame, I guess, or ignorant to it, which I think is awesome. In that, you know, this whole episode is about him caring about, or learning to care about, something that is completely dependent on him, that would die without him. Fame doesn't matter. And so this episode not having basically any dialogue after the opening sequence, I think was beautiful. And it made the whole episode reminiscent of like a Looney Tunes cartoon, or Hanna-Barbera, anything like that, the old school stuff without words. And I think it was really awesome how he communicated things visually so well. It was a wild ride of an episode, especially. And it's a little harder to talk about because I don't want to really go moment to moment with it. But I do want to say, I think that him and the Bojack and the Seahorse Baby, something about that might come up again. I'm really hoping, because Bojack is really good at bringing back some of his plot threads that it teases out. So hopefully that will come up, but it probably won't save him from the negative publicity that I'm assuming that he's going to get from when it finally comes out that he almost fucked his old friend's daughter on her prom night. When that comes out, I don't think any positive publicity he's going to have will save him. But hopefully he'll have the Oscar before that, which is what I'm assuming is going to happen, or will happen around the eve of it. But Bojack even predicted what will happen in that case, because he said, in episode 3, the Academy really doesn't like murder, but they seem to be okay with rape. I guess there are a lot of people who have won awards that people have thrown accusations at. I'm not going to quote any of them because I don't know for sure, and I don't want to be like, oh, this, or this is what I heard. But, you know, there's scandals in Hollywood all the time, right? And Bojack is really a reflection of the real world. And I think that having an episode that makes you have to watch Bojack in a different way completely, while still understanding the characters are still acting as if they would act, even though they're, you know, in foreign land. And I think the whole kind of theme of the episode was communication, because Bojack is trying desperately to communicate with in this episode, and the one being that he communicates with the most is totally dependent on him, and he has to let go. His responsibility to that kid is to put it with his rightful parent. So this one thing that would make him happy, that we see make him happy, he has to give up. And maybe that means Bojack should have a kid. Maybe he should adopt a kid. Maybe that's a bad idea. But I do like seeing Bojack and his struggle to communicate. It is kind of it takes a lot of attention to watch because there's basically no talking. And I think it is funny that, you know, he didn't know that the little helmet actually had a little speech thing, so he could talk the whole time. And no one told him, and there were no instructions, but he didn't ask or try to ask. And oh, well, I guess he didn't really have time since he got a taser on the submarine, so that didn't help. I mean, Bojack basically is a tragic figure. He sets himself up for just terrible, terrible life choices, and he tries desperately. And I think this episode really exemplifies. Oh, sorry, is it called Fish Out of Water? Yeah, Fish Out of Water definitely exemplifies how hard it is for Bojack to communicate and how misunderstood he is, and how he just lets his anger consume him, and he just lets his communication break down even more. Woo, that was a mouthful. Anyway, hope you guys like this. Hope you nerds have a great day, whatever day you watch this, or whatever time. So, have a good one.